Recent school shootings have prompted authorities to increase campus security.
Valley View News reporter Alexi Chidbachian sat down with CSUN Police Chief Ann Glavin to talk about the security measures used on campus.
There have been 150 school shootings since 2013. 3 of them have occurred within the past 2 weeks. So why are school shootings becoming so common?
There's probably a lot of reasons for that, some known and certainly many not known. First of all, we do know factually that in the last, say, 10 years or so, certainly the last 20 years, these shootings have increased because the size of campus populations across the country have increased. So just statistically, it would be expected that the numbers would increase. But frankly, I think we're seeing a lot more incidents of mental illness because many of the folks responsible for these shootings do have histories with issues around mental illness. And there's also a quotient, too, I think, of copycat. And it's hard to know that for certainty because how do you prove that? As one who has followed this for some time, that is part of the issue. And then how do you get inside someone's mind and know if they do have the mental illness issue, are they really copying something or getting the idea? In some cases, we do know, like one of the recent ones, where the shooter actually admired other mass shootings. And that's actually a red flag warning sign that we look for.
Are there any rules or policies implemented by the university that helps put a strict ban on assault weapons on campus?
Well, that's a state law. So weapons, guns are not allowed on college and university campuses. But of course, I know you know that doesn't mean that somebody wouldn't try to secrete one and bring it on the campus. So despite the fact that we have the law, as many states do, that's a rather common law around the country, one never knows on any given day, particularly with a population on this campus of 42,000 students, several thousand more faculty and staff, and gosh knows how many visitors on a given day.
How do you train your staff for situations like this?
Our police department is extremely well trained in active shooter. It is part of their regular firearms training because they use automatic weapons in those situations, high-powered rifles. But most importantly, for many, many, many years, we've been doing once a year an annual drill with our law enforcement partners. So if we had that type of situation, one hopes that will never happen on this campus, but we would get backup support from the LAPD, so they join us for that. The CHP, they join us as well. The LAUSD School Police, as you know, we have a high school on the campus. So those 3 departments participate annually in our drill. And we also get some other police departments who have no other drills to participate in. They come to CSUN. Simi Valley is a good example. They join us every year. And this last one that we did a few months back, we also had the Los Angeles Fire Department, because one of the things that we drilled on, and we were the first in the area to do that, in studying these situations across the country, police are seeing that one of the emerging issues is how to take care of injured persons in these situations. Of course, if you have a shooting situation, police arrive, their goal is to go after the shooter and stop the shooter from killing more people. But in so doing, there could be many people injured, some dead, as they go to get the shooter. And we're learning over time and looking at this that some people are losing their lives that are injured because the police are totally focused on getting that shooter and then dealing with injured and everything afterwards. So now what's emerging in terms of police training is training the police to be first responders. So it's like a first aid team that goes in behind the team that's going after the shooter. So let's say you have a multi-story building, maybe 3 floors, and the police go in, they clear the first floor, no shooter. They clear the second floor, no shooter. They've gone to the 3rd floor. That team that deals with first aid will go into the 1st floor that's been cleared and get anyone who's injured and immediately take them out and hand off to the fire rescue.
Are there any trainings that students can attend to be more educated in what to do in a situation like this?
Yes, the desk references, you may recall at the beginning of the fall term, the president put out a notice to the whole campus, students included, about the desk references. There is a version, and this is the emergency plans for the campus, there's a version for students, there's a version for staff, and a version for faculty. Within that desk reference on emergencies is a shooter type situation with the basics. The critical thing in that type of situation is paying attention to any broadcast messages that the police department would put out. So if we had information that there was an active shooter on campus, the first thing we're going to do is tell the campus that through our emergency broadcast system, which, as you probably know, is Blackboard Connect. So depending on what you put in the campus portal, you'll get that message by, say, email, text message, phone, a multitude of ways. And that's deliberate because we don't want to rely on any one system. But in that message, it will say, you know, shelter in place or stay in place or evacuate or don't go near this area of the campus. Whatever we think is critical for that particular situation at that particular time.
That was CSUN Police Chief Ann Glavin interviewed at the CSUN Police Station.